Hello, everyone, and welcome to horrornightoasis, a radio show where we discuss all the latest movies and news from the world of horror. Joining me tonight, as always, is my co-host Ian. Ian, are you there?
I am here, actually.
I, I know it's only been a few days since we last talked, but everything good
Long
on
time
your
no
end, buddy?
talk. Oh, yeah.
All
Just
hunky
peachy.
dory. Yeah, always hunky dory. But we are here to conclude our Twisted Nature marathon for the month of April. It has been a enlightening month of films. Some good, some bad, and then there's tonight's film. Um, so yeah, this one, this one's special because when we were doing our Louisa marathon, the Madness of Louisa marathon, back in January, we had a listener, uh, horror fangirl was her name, and she says you guys should review Mountain Shark, and I responded back like we're interested in doing a shark or animal themed show. We just have to get to it first. And I'm hopeful, again, I'm sure she might have voted so we could do this. And if she did, we're concluding the marathon off her recommendation of you should review this. And here we are with Mountain Shark. And boy, there was 5 minutes into this. There were so many things I was having going through my head. And first up, ITN showed up, ITN Distribution, and that is the sole proprietor of films being put up on Tubi or, as they once were, sold in Walmart for $10. They filled the
Yeah.
shelves. Then, as soon as that went off, Champ Dog Films came on. And we know Champ Dog is a Louisa company. So I was like, oh no, what are we in for? And then it went through
I bet
there.
it was Louisa that told us to do this.
Yeah, it probably was her. Like, hey guys, do this. And of course, you go through the credits, and Louisa Warren is a producer on the film. And it has a bunch of course, actors that were in her productions and films previously. Two of them, especially, but we'll get into those characters later on. So, Mountain Shark, I kind of, again, I've seen a lot of low budget, bad CGI shark movies. I've seen it. So, going into this one, I wasn't really expecting much, but I was like, there's always an interesting ploy or just marketing gimmick to the shark films. And I was kind of interested to see how they did this because it's not the first shark on land or swimming through the earth. There was Land Shark a few years ago, but that was Tokyo or Japan, somewhere it was imported. ITN distributed it, and that one I had fun with because it was sort of like a ripoff of the Meg, because it started underground, in the underwater, in the systems and the labs, bio labs and underwater labs, and then the shark got loose and came to the land and started going through the land, flying through the air. It was nuts. If you haven't seen Land Shark, I mean, it's a short watch. I think you can watch it on Tubi. It's available. It's not too bad. So I was like, okay, maybe it's going to be something like that, where it's just going to be sort of fun, poking fun at itself a little bit. And then the film started, and there's so many inconsistencies, and that it was just like, wait a second, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. And it kept going, and it kept going, where we have our first opening scene. We have two explorers, hikers. They're in the mountains. If you want to call them mountains, they're like the hills somewhere in Scotland, I guess. I don't know. It's just like the hillside, and they're just going through there, and they find a body. I don't know who the body was, but they come across the body, and then the mountain shark comes up over the hill, and we have this view of our characters coming down. In the background, you can see on the left, there's a little river, stream coming down. On the right, there's this road that's sort of curvy, and there's particular like patch of grass and this little tiny bump of a hill. And they're lazy enough to use that exact same backdrop and make you think, hey, it's the opposite side. When you have your characters coming down the road and they're standing there and they flip it where the shark's coming at the guy, the mountaineer, the hiker, and like it's the exact same. You can put it one on top of the other, and it's the same image. So they were lazy; they couldn't shoot the other scene, even though they had the other scene, the other side, as what I'm saying, of the shark coming up over the hill. They couldn't.
Yeah.
They couldn't use that. They had to. Oh, it's coming this way, even though they're the exact same spot. Again, inconsistencies galore with this film. And of course, the character of the mountain shark, I mean, it is what it is. It's a bad CGI shark. It reminded me of, again, a bunch of other bad CGI shark movies. Again, I don't need to go into like logistics or titles. You know, there's ice sharks and sand sharks and all that stuff. Even though sand sharks is actually not too bad. I had fun with that one. And then like, again, it's just like, you know what it is. You basically know what you're going to get with this film. And I don't mind that. But when your production is very low budget, and again, it's a low budget. This is the director's first film, Greg A.K. I have no. Good on you. You got into the crowd that churn out movies every weekend with the Champ Dog films. But it was just lazy for the majority of this film. And I don't really like to hark on that because, again, films are hard work and everything. But just the beginning, that opening scene, is just lazy filmmaking. And it shows throughout the rest of the film because, like, you have a director that's not really getting any character depth out of the actors. He's not getting any emotion. They're all wooden, and the performances are stale, and it's just cheap and just lazy. And that really kind of put a damper on the film because usually some of these shark movies, there's a so bad it's good factor. And again, like the Sharknado films are so bad, you know, the cheesy stuff like that. This is one of those where it's just like, it's just dull and boring, and the story doesn't help. But we'll get into the story. It's very simple premise. The shark is a genetically modified killing machine weapon by the Dr. Eric. I wrote Nesbitt. I'm just calling him Dr. Eric and Jennifer Hawkes. And they're working, again, on this prototype machine to combat, like, Russia wars, all that stuff, where it's able to attack underwater, but then also on land, if need be. And it's loose in the mountains. And they're calling in a special group of hunters or, you know, spec ops, whatever it is, to this mountain base to stop the shark and capture it, kill it, one thing or the other. And so we have our ragtag group of army hunters going after the shark, and they're just walking and walking. They find the body. One decides, you know what, this is too much for me, I'm leaving. He gets attacked by a shark. More walking, and to the ultimate chagrin of nobody, the Dr. Eric made a plan to, like, oh, this is my evil invention, and he must feed, and he needs to hunt, and you all are my guinea pigs, and you must go out there and feed the shark. And yeah, it's just, they just walk around for like the first 45 minutes doing nothing, talking about nothing. And then the reveal of the doctor is the next, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And then it's just technically them running around trying to fight the shark in various ways. Just like, haha, the red heat signature is gone. That means he's dead. And, nefarious plans aside, it's just them overcoming the doctor and trying to outsmart the shark, in a sense. And then there's like a bunch of stuff, very minor character plot details of some of the recruits or army people. And honestly, it really didn't matter, because like I said, it's just, there's no effort in the film. There's the dialogue, the diction of the characters is just dry. The plot is just muddled, and not enjoyable or fun. I mean, seeing the shark swim through the earth and it digging up, digging up the earth with its fin, and it's like it's going through streams and all that. Like, okay, it's whatever. I like the contradiction, or not the contradiction, the discrepancy of like the size of like where it is from certain parts in the scene is like way off. But again, low budget CG, I get it. But still, the overall arc of the story is just dull and just not enjoyable. And it's a too serious to be campy and too boring to be enjoyable. Yeah. And usually with something like this, you want to have a little fun. There's other films like, again, where they kind of lean towards the camp or the tongue-in-cheek aspect. There's Robo Shark, which was a Sci-Fi Channel original back in the day. And it was sort of a parody, in a sense, where it was sort of doing a spoof of Dr. Strangelove. But you have this, instead of like a bomb, it's a robot shark. And they did all the little gags of the flailing of the hat on the bomb, and it was just a very much parody of Dr. Strangelove, and that's what they were going for. I wasn't a big fan of it, but there's, that tongue-in-cheek aspect of the film. And again, other ones that I mentioned too, like, it's just, like the later Sharknado films, where there's a serious, aspect of the films, but there's also a little, they're nodding you, like, we're not taking ourselves too seriously, especially with the later sequels where it gets ridiculous and time travel and all that. But just those earlier ones where it's just like they're having fun, doing all the stuff with the Sharknadoes. And then it's just, if this one falls into that category of like a saltwater atomic shark, where it's just boring and like Bull Shark, where it's just like there's not much there to grasp on. Like, they're trying to make it this serious film, and that's the thing with like a lot of, again, like Champ Dog, or just this style of from the British cinema, like Spider and the Attic, Dinosaur Hotel, just those crazy, they're too serious for their own good, and it just kind of hurts it in a way. And especially, like, again, like, we know some of the actors can actually do pretty good acting. Like the girl that played Brooks, she was in, again, a bunch of Louisa stuff. She was in She was also in Three Blind Mice, and we know that, she does decent acting when the script or given the right direction can emote well. And the same thing with the guy that I think is Winters or Hunter or one of the, I don't know his name. But like he was in Leprechaun's Curse, I believe, and he did a fine job in that one. But like this is just again the Greg AK's first film, and it shows, and it's just like it's just cheap and lazy in its execution, and it's just like he wasn't able to give the he's like stick to the script, don't go off of it, and he wasn't giving them like any character advice or anything. Of course, they're just nobodies. They're just fodder for the shark. But still, like they tried to add elements in there with the story of like two of the female army recruits were a lesbian couple, and then the other one sort of had bad feelings because she knew what was going to happen when they got there. So she was sort of in on it. So she has that regret in her heart that she has to deal with dealing with the shark and wanting to do right at the end of it. But again, it's just like it felt like there was like no effort really into like getting these characters to deliver lines. It felt like high school drama class. And again, there's probably better actors out there at high school drama class, and it's just, or I wouldn't say that, maybe middle school. I don't know. It just the delivery and the line delivery was just like wooden, and it's just like they were reading it like right off the page. It was like a table read almost, the way that they were delivering their lines. And again, the shark attacks, it was fine for what they were. I mean, whatever. I mean, it's just a shark swimming through the earth, coming up and attacking people. It's sort of mute. It's a moot point, honestly, because it's like you need the story around it to work, or the delivery of everything to work. And this one, it just felt half-assed, and that's really all I can really say about the film. It's like it was half-assed and lazy. But Ian, I'll give your opinions, and then we'll go back and forth.
This movie was a snooze fest. Like hardcore. It was a much like the acting was all monotoned and stiff. Nothing happens for like what? We get one shark attack in the beginning, and then like two at almost the halfway point. And so like massive chunk of this movie has nothing going on. And like you said, it was just walking and talking and talking.
Standing around.
Sleeping. We even saw a person sleep for like 10 minutes. And then they tried to do like a gag with that random dude. But like everything just felt so like forced. Even the plot felt forced. Because it's just like, this makes no sense. Like, you're not giving me anything. Also, they were just sending them out in the field to hunt the shark down without telling them there was a shark. Just, you'll find it and kill it. What are they supposed to kill? And they're like, oh, well, this is, now you understand why we kept it a secret from you. No, because that's stupid. I was like, that makes no sense. Why would they have, like, how would they know what to kill if they were never?
Yeah, and Larry brings it up like there's a shark swimming. You're going through the mountains. Like, you're crazy, Larry. And then all of a sudden they see the fin, and it just like starts shooting at it, and it's just like, oh god. Some of those scenes were just not very good.
I just loved that the shark is like, you can see it like digging through the dirt, but the dirt just like starts like disappears. That's like been ripped open. I'm like, man, this shark would have left like holes everywhere, and that could have been that could have been a whole plot point, because it's digging tunnels under the ground. But I was like, whatever. I was like, I'm just gonna stop thinking about this because there's nothing else to think about
Yeah,
other
like
than
there's no reason. There's really no reason to bring up the depth perception either of like how the actors were like too small and the fins were too big, and then when you get up there, they're the same size. Is it like, do you know how to do calculations and make things the right size? Apparently not.
yeah. No, it was just the plot didn't make sense. The they didn't flesh it out. And it's like, oh, the doctor's crazy because he did brain experiments on himself. And it's like, okay, were we supposed to know about this? Were we supposed to care? I was like, okay. It's just like, and it was like, like I felt like there was no urgency because of like the acting. Like, I felt like, I mean, I was like, whatever for the shark, it's fine. I wasn't upset by that. I mean, I thought the shark was going to be much bigger because it was like a huge chunk of the hillside that it was going down. And I was like, okay, that thing is massive. And then it attacks and it's like barely bigger than the person that they were attacking. I was like, that's not the size that fin.
No,
And I was
you
like,
see it up
okay,
there on the mountain coming down, and it's like the size of a freaking plane, and then it comes down and it's the size of a freaking person. Like, nah, come on.
the poster makes this movie look like it's going to be better. Like I was expecting a shark that size. Nope, it's just a regular size like bull shark. Like the thing is not that it's big, but it's not like huge.
It's
And
like
then
it's sort of like a small whale almost.
it's very tiny. It's a
Yeah,
lot smaller than I was expecting. And like they like when it attacked, it like blood splattered everywhere, but like those bodies littered everywhere, but we only really seen one.
and there's like one like tooth in the dude's face, and like if a shark attacked you, you're not gonna just have like a scrape on the face and a tooth. You're gonna be mauled and cut open, and holes and punctures and limbs missing and flesh ripped off. You're not just gonna be laying there perfectly perfect. It's not a shark attack. You're gonna have some dangly bits hanging off of you.
Yeah.
But again, I get it, low budget, but you make what you do. But I don't know. It just wasn't. Again, I just like I said, it just wasn't fun. Like if they didn't play it so seriously, it would have been
Right.
fine. You know, that's the thing with like Land Shark. And I say go if you want to watch Mountain Shark, just go watch Land Shark instead, because it does the exact same thing with a shark going in and out of the ground, and like it's freaking over the top sort of action film like the Meg, and it's just like and it's a little bit it goes by quicker because it's more action packed because they're trying to chase the shark down, and it's not amazing, but it's fun for what it is. And it's just like needed to have that factor of just a little bit of fun in it, and it took itself way too seriously. And I understand that with what they were trying, I guess what they were trying to do, but it didn't need to be, as you said, so monotone and just continuous in its nature, where it's just like get on with it. I mean, nothing happens really.
Yeah, like
They get
through
called there. You have to go find the shark. We found the shark. Now you're part of my experiment. You're going out there one by one to face the shark. Oops, now I'm attacked by the shark. and then the film ends. That's it. There's nothing. There's no beats. There's no urgency. There's no, honestly, like, really comeuppance of the Doctor either. I mean, you can say, oh, he got attacked by the shark. Yeah, woohoo. That's I didn't see that coming a mile away. It's just like, oh, that's obvious. Um, there just need to be something to give it a little bit more staying power instead of just like, yeah, this is just going to be lumped in with the other shitty shark movies I've seen before, like Bull Shark and Blood Bite. But I'm going to remember Blood Bite more because of the way that the people swim in that film. They're just paddling, and it's like they're, oh my god, it's awful. You have to see, like, if they have the trailer for Blood Bite, I don't know if they show them swimming or not, but my god, the CGI swimming in Blood Bite is freaking ridiculously funny. That's like a good portion of the film is just them in water, fake swimming on, like, they're just laying on something, paddling like the old, Superman used to do. But yeah, it's just like, it's average. I mean, it's nothing. It's a nothing burger, really. I mean, it's not fun. I mean, it's not even, like I said, it's not fun in a campy way. It's not fun in a cheesy way. It's just dull and lifeless and lazy. And that's the bad point of the film. It's just like, there's no substance. And it's just, why waste your time with someone that doesn't feel like they're giving it their all either.
Yeah. And that's just the whole problem with this whole movie is like, it tries to pass itself off as something that it's not. It completely, like, it's mostly, honestly, it's kind of a pointless movie. Like, this is probably one of the few films that I'm like, this movie really shouldn't have been made without thinking about it better. I mean, the shark being a government experiment that could, like, tunnel through the ground, whatever, that's fine. Like, I can accept that as a premise, but like, just the laziness of it, just the, like, everything just felt so shoehorned in, and to fill the gaps to make it a feature length, they did a lot of walking scenes. Honestly, I think there's more walking in this movie than there was in Lord of the Rings. Like, and that movie was literally about walking to a mountain. I mean, come on now. Like, and this is just, it was just, and like, I could forgive it. I could forgive a lot of this movie's flaws had it just had something to grab onto. But instead, instead of character development and that, they just, oh, hey, to make this character interesting, we're going to make them lesbians, but we're also going to do a little twisty-roo around the middle and then another twisty-roo around the end. And it's like, okay, that was completely pointless. Like, and there's just so much things wrong with this movie. So many things. And just for it to, like, take itself seriously, like, I mean, I feel like this movie would have been enjoyable had it been more campy. Like, even with the flaws that it has, like, just some movies just need to be camp and not serious. Like, not all the, like, it's a movie about a shark that tunnels underground. Stop taking this shit seriously, because that's boring. Like, oh my god. I was just sitting here because, I watched it on my phone at 1.5 speed. Not fast enough to, like, where they, are, you can still understand what they're saying, and it just goes by a little bit faster. And it still took forever to get through each scene. Like, I was like, man, this movie is a slog fest Like I got like 20 minutes into the film and I felt like I was an hour into the film. Like I felt like this movie should have already been over with by that point.
Yeah. I mean, like again, like I said, like it's in the pantheon of like those other ones, like Shark and Saw, Women's Prison Massacre. But Jim Wynorski directed that one, and they had some notable names. Like I think Brink Stevens is in that one. I mean, it's not bad, but it's Jim Wynorski. I mean, it's fine for what it is. And that one has sharks swimming through the earth as well. So it's like again, like there's another one that's way better, and it came out years prior. And it's just like again, like it's and there was some substance there, and like again, like each of the women were like again they were in a prison, so they're coming there to this place to do stuff, and they get attacked by sharks in the ground. So it's like they're the the idea has been done. You just need something to stand out, and
Yeah.
like when you have a cult director like Jim Wynorski, you can get away with it and being because it's Wynorski. This one is just like it's a first time director. It didn't feel like he knew what he was honestly wanting to do. He got like the cheapest, I wouldn't say the cheapest version of whatever software he used for the shark, but it looked a little bit better than it did for the dinosaurs in Dinosaur Hotel. Those dinosaurs in that one are pretty bad. Same thing for like Dragon Fury, which I think is like the same place that they filmed Dragon Fury. Honestly, it looked that way. But I digress. I'm just going around in circles, just thinking of other things that I want to talk about besides the film.
Yeah. No, like that's yeah. And I mean, just the whole like just they could have shortened this film. They could have focused on the characters and like why we should care about them a little bit more, or like done something different. Like I don't even know. Like I can't even think of like what they like. Some of the movies that we've reviewed, especially of Luisa's, it was like the idea was there. Like they had a good setup and premise, but the execution was terrible. This, I feel like, was just all the way around terrible. Like, and I'm sorry to like actually like shit on this movie like this, but like, I'm sorry. This is the first movie in a while that I'm like, I can't stand behind it.
Yeah, like I said, it just felt lazy, and again, it just shows,
Yeah.
throughout the film.
And it doesn't even feel like a passion project. Like this
No,
just
it literally feels like he's in the in crowd now, and they gave him a script, or he came up with a script. I don't know, and they just like here's a weekend, go to this place in the hills and shoot a movie. Here's all our regulars, make it $20,000. You'll get some money back.
yeah. And like there is, and even with the shark, it's like the same thing over and over again. And it's not even like there's that much. It's like it's in the distance, you just see a fin and then it just comes at. And I just feel like there's nothing intense. There's no like, just like anything. I feel like there's just like it just happens. And I
And they
felt
needed to do
like
something.
no suspense at all.
They needed to do something with the shark too, because if it's going through there, it needed to have like a metal fin or something where it's able to swim through the earth, so it could cut through, like it was a sharp fin or something like that, where it's able to swim, but it's just a regular shark.
Or some science bullshit where it's like, we were genetically testing it and we gave it some kind of mutation that allowed it to swim through the earth like it was water or something. Like I would have accepted some just bullshit. No, like all they said was it was a weapon. I'm like, all this weapon does is bite people.
Yeah.
I was like, that's it. I was like,
Yeah. It doesn't have a laser beam. It'd have been good if it had a laser beam.
laser beam, like metal teeth,
Yeah.
like a drill on its head, something. But no, it's just a regular ass shark that can just somehow go up and down out of the ground.
Yeah, like I said, it needed to be more outlandish, like sky sharks, with like Nazis on sharks riding through the sky. I mean that film's fun if you haven't seen Sky Sharks. But
Yeah.
like again, I'm just bringing up all these other movies I'd rather watch instead of talk about this one that we're reviewing now. But there's a good airplane sequence in Sky Sharks. It's worth checking out. You can probably just type in that scene, you'll see it in the trailer, Sky Sharks. But Ian, I think we dug this one into the ground. I think we
Yeah,
need to just go ahead and put this to rest and
I
go on
agree.
to our rankings to finally put a bow on our Twisted Nature marathon. And these rankings are always fun because we get to look back and talk about the films and our thoughts and how things worked and didn't work and reasonings for it. So I'm going to go ahead and number 5 is going to be Mountain Shark because it's
Yeah.
just plain Jane run of the mill shark with issues. You know, again, we don't need to go into it. We've went on far enough discussing it. So number 5 is Mountain Shark. Number 4 is going to be Ravenstein because I like the idea that they were trying to do. I like the lore of Ravenstein, but there was, again, it's like there's a lot of nothing in that one, and then you get that adrenaline shot of Ravenstein, and then it just kicks it up a little bit, and then it just goes away. And that's like the whole film. Like you're wanting stuff to happen, and at least something does happen, and like the story is the lore is interesting, but they just don't really do enough with it. And there's some issues later on with the dad and the son. But nonetheless, I still liked the lore of Ravenstein, the look of Ravenstein, and his antics when he came on screen. So 4 is Ravenstein. 3, it was tough. And usually when I have these that are like I can flip either 1 to 2 or 3, I go back to think moments because that's always with me. Like I always like what's a moment in that stands out to you. And honestly, there wasn't that many in this, but I still liked it enough. So number 3 is Bloody Easter, because I liked the bunny puppets. I liked the jackalope. The story was fun, but it still had issues with the story and the lore and the reasonings why towards the end. So it didn't really grab me as much as it did, but I still enjoyed it. So Bloody Easter is 3. Number 2, again, it came down to moments, and that's Graveyard Shark, because I love the black guy fucking the mermaid. And again, I wish he did a little bit more with the lore of the shark and the sheriff raising him, but what we got was fine. And I like the shark attacks in the graveyard. And of course, I'm gonna remember the girl pegging Bigfoot, even though it was a little bit long-winded and a run-on joke. It's a moment I'm gonna remember. Like, oh, remember the film where she pegged Bigfoot? And so number 2 is Graveyard Shark, and number 1 is Moose the Movie, because I really had fun with that one. It was a nice surprise, and it was just overall fun and endearing and worth a watch for those that haven't seen it. So that's my rating. So Ian, your thoughts and your ratings.
Well, I'm gonna number 5 for me is definitely Mountain Shark. It's definitely the weakest of all the movies. Number 4 is also Ravenstein. I mean, I literally completely forgot about that movie. Nothing really stood out too much, other than like the costume, which was fun. And yeah, see, even like that had something fun in it. Like gave us a little thing. I had number 3 was Moose. For me, I personally just, I didn't hate it. It was fine, but number 2 is Bloody Easter, just because I love the rabbits. Like those rabbits stood out the most, and I think about them. I talked about them a lot. I was making jokes about them, So, like you said, like moments and little things like that stand out the most. It was fun for what it was. Um, Now, like I said, like you said, it falls apart in every other aspect. Um, but and number one is Graveyard Shark for me, just solely because of the Graveyard Shark being an amorphic shark man. Because that is something that is sticking with me for a while. And anytime I think of like 90s cartoons, I'm going to think of Street Sharks, and it's going to bring me right back to that movie, because I didn't look at the poster before I watched it. I didn't look at any trailers. I just raw dogged that movie. And when he came out wearing like that little leather vest thing, I'm just like, yes. I like stupid shit like that. And then the mermaid scene, and then like all that hilarious like back and forth banter, the girl blowing the Graveyard Shark, like she was just like, survival instincts is just like I'm off. That's hilarious. That shit was funny to me. Like that movie was enjoyable. Like
Yeah.
like all of these movies had something going for them, something that made them unique in their own ways. Were they great? No, none of these movies were good, but they weren't terrible. And I didn't hate myself after watching any of them. I mean, I didn't really hate myself watching Graveyard Shark, or not Graveyard Sharks, Mountain Shark, because there was nothing there. Like, I mean, there's no rewatchable value to it. And yeah, but all of these movies had something going for it in some way or another, some kind of gimmick, some kind of campiness. They, most of them played into the campiness, which is what I would have loved to see with, Mountain Shark. I wish that they would have went that direction. So,
All right. Yeah, definitely. Like again, we do suggest again like Graveyard Shark, and it's fun for what it is. And again, it was close to being my number one, but I just couldn't. Again, just that middle section was just
yeah,
a slog to get through, and like Moose was just, even though it was a little long, it still felt cohesive, and just like everything flowed perfectly together in my opinion. Whereas like again, like they just like kept on going with the jokes and Graveyard Shark, even though I liked it and I enjoyed the aspects of the film and the zaniness of the characters. I just liked the world that Moose the movie had with the
yeah,
community, um, over the shark and stuff. I just like the community aspect of Moose. But again, both are good for what they are. Again, minor qualms aside, and each of the respective reviews, you can go back and listen to them. But Ian, I think that's going to do it. We have
all right.
finished our Twisted Nature
Woo.
marathon. It has been an endurance,
It
but I
was.
don't think it's not been a bad one. But it's just been one of those. Again, I always say I always go to my word, interesting. But it's been a wide variety of films, and you never know with these things. But we are looking forward to continuing on whatever we do for May. And as always, it's great talking with you, my friend. I hope everything goes well on your end.
Likewise.
And I hope everyone else has enjoyed our Twisted Nature Marathon, which was voted on by the listeners. So we thank you for making this marathon happen. And we will see you next time on Horror Night Oasis.
Good night, everyone.